They didn't see that she was normal, but different. They just seen her with a disability.
The foundation of it is to provide a choice to those parents who know best for their children of what would be the best educational environment for them.
They are way behind at the start of the race. This is just helping them catch up a little bit.
They saw our children and how well they're doing, that they'd understand why this is important.
Well, the Lindsey Nicole Henry Scholarship Program was passed in 2010. It was a bipartisan effort. Democrat Governor Brad Henry at the time signed the law. It's named for an infant daughter of the Henrys that died of a rare neuromuscular disease.
To have a Democrat, Governor Brad Henry, support the legislation and offer his late daughter's name to it is a success in and of itself.
96,000 kids, about 15% of all of our public school kids in Oklahoma, are on an IEP, or otherwise referred to as special education.
There has been no better program in this state than that scholarship program to give parents with special needs hope.
What this law does is allow them to take a portion of the money that the public school would have received to educate that child with them to a private school that's accredited by the state and that meets certain guidelines as an effort to try to give that child some relief and the education that they need.
I really believe that if we can reach those young people early, we can make dramatic gains.
Good job, Riley. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15.
We started noticing symptoms at 15 months.
17, 18.
He had skills and words and then started losing them. My son was diagnosed with autism at the age of 2. He has regressive autism. He was also diagnosed with apraxia, several different physical issues as well with his autism. We don't believe that Rob is intellectually delayed.
Children can be recognized as being special needs or having a disability under the law, not just because of their academic performance or lack of academic performance.
Kids with autism just require more support. They have the ability, they have the means, they just need the right support.
Sometimes children that qualify for being special needs or having a disability are some of our smartest children that we have in our system, some of the smartest adults we have in our country.
Things like art. I mean, a lot of these kids are really gifted at art and music. He could hum Mozart at 15 months. That most typical kids don't do that kind of stuff. I mean, these kids are I really think that they're brilliant, and it's just finding the right people to bring that out of them. But often they're just, put into special ed rooms and kind of forgotten.
They have challenges from a social perspective that oftentimes leads to bullying. And whether it's the school officials that not necessarily taking the action that they need to take or being as proactive as they need to be, or if it's them not understanding some of these special needs and unique aspects of these children and recognizing that these aren't kids that are being difficult or are wanting the bullying or are the cause of the bullying. They just maybe don't fully understand how the two connect together. The special need is what's causing the child to be bullied, and the way the child reacts to it only makes it worse, even though they're not trying to make it worse. They just don't understand because they don't understand some of those social aspects.
Especially with the nonverbal children, they can't come home and tell you, I'm being pushed around at school. And unfortunately, it's happening. It's happening a lot. Even if my son could talk, I don't think he would say anything. He is the type of child that if somebody were to push him, he would just smile. He would just smile and take it. Even if he had a broken bone, he'd probably just smile. So that is definitely a concern for me.
Well, the Lindsey Nicole Henry Scholarship is really designed to help families with children with special needs or with disabilities. The foundation of it is to provide a choice to those parents who know best for their children of what would be the best educational environment for them.
My worry was if he was in a special ed room that he wouldn't be educated. And that was really important. I want him to go to college. I want him to do all the things his typical peers do. Even if he can't talk, he's going to do those things. I don't blame the public schools because I know that the public schools here in Oklahoma are really financially strapped. But unfortunately, the money is not being given to the special ed. Most of the rooms are overcrowded, they're understaffed, the teachers are not paid well, they don't have the experience or the training to deal with our kids. Autism is so different from other disabilities.
Good Shepherd is a new school. We are a school focusing on autism or any type of disorder on the autism spectrum. We want children to learn to talk and communicate as well as possible so that they can go on and have a very normal life and be able to be productive in society and have a happy life.
Does he belch or make noises quite rude? Does he pick at his cereal, throw down his cup, hoping to make someone else pick it up? Does that sound?
They're very well trained and very well supervised here.
Rob is a wonderful child. I love him dearly.
They are incredibly loving and compassionate, just so devoted.
He is very motivated by certain things, and so we use those little things that he loves to do, like his favorite toys or his favorite games or even his favorite snacks, and we will use those as reinforcement.
I don't worry about him when I drop him off. When he was at public school, I worried about him the entire time. But here I know he's well taken care of.
So when we sit down to work with a child, Rob or any child, when they give correct responses, we will reinforce their responses. So whether that means giving him 30 seconds with the Slinky that he loves to play with, or giving him one of the Skittles or fruit snacks that he loves, so it makes it to where he is learning to give those correct responses.
And he gives them all hugs and kisses goodbye, so I know he's happy here.
Well, I think one of the major reasons why the Lindsey Nicole Henry Scholarship was able to be passed, it's intended to help those children who have a special need. It really is a group of children who warrant the special protection, and in the eyes of the law are already provided special protection. And so to have this opportunity available to them through a scholarship is really just a furtherance of protecting those children to ensure that they have the educational environment available to them that is best for them.
That scholarship is a major supporter for the families. You know, with the cost being $21,000 a year, that's a big chunk of money for a family to lay down. And those that can, I'm sure, would do that. But at the same time, there are many families who are struggling and have more than one child who needs special services. So without that scholarship, I'm sure 5 of the 8 families that we have here now probably wouldn't be able to be here.
It cut the tuition in half. That money really, that money is allocated to him in the public schools, but I don't think it actually really goes to him in the public school. This way the money's actually going to him. It's being spent on him.
The knowledge that without this applied behavior analysis intervention, these kids would not have another opportunity to excel like they would here.
So some of them are going on to college. One of the girls enrolled in the biology program and did a research project with one of the professors there. We've got others who are studying math that are absolute whizzes, some that are in some of the computer sciences. A lot of them may be able to go on and be very successful, but we've got to start with programs when they're really young to make sure that happens.
This bill is only helping kids, it's not hurting anybody. I really strongly believe if they saw our children and how well they're doing, that they'd understand why this is important.
It was like a week she turned 3. It was just like a little switch in her had been flipped.
She wasn't really speaking, or she didn't have a lot of facial expressions. She started to throw just horrible fits where she would tear out her hair and rake her face, and just, you know, fits that you wouldn't normally see from, you wouldn't think you'd normally see from a child.
Individuals with autism, typically what we're going to see are people who have significant language impairments as well as socialization kinds of impairments. We may also see some behavioral issues with that, because if you can't talk and tell somebody what you want to do or what you're thinking or what you need, you're going to probably be frustrated. I know I would.
She runs the household.
Yeah, everything revolves around her therapies, her appointments. It sometimes can feel isolating because other people don't understand.
She has a very regimented existence, lots of schedules and lists of things you do before you get ready for bed, for instance. But that helps her, so that's fine, but that's a lot different than life before she came along. So.
I was having a moment and I felt like I needed help. I emailed the Oklahoma Autism Network, and they called me the next day. And then she emailed me all sorts of information. She told me about it on the phone, and she also included a link for the scholarship there in the email.
Every teacher is teaching specific skill sets to the child to help them fill in their specific needs. Every child there, you can go there and see it for yourself, is special in their own way, and they all have their own challenges.
They don't just teach academics, ABCs and that sort of thing. They teach them like life functioning skills, to brush your teeth, to help potty training.
They're all very loving, they're kind-hearted. I don't know what we would do without the school.
Many of the students are so bright, they just amaze me. They may not be able to tell you anything, but you ask them to do something and they can do so many things.
She had very limited speech, and she started going there October 1st, I believe, and just in that little amount of time, you can tell she's a chatterbox now, and she was not before. She's come a long way. She's done a 180.
The more functional that these kids can be brought up to be, the less of a burden they would be on the state and their resources going forward. Our daughter may require supervision and somebody there to be an advocate for her until she's 80. And so I'm probably not going to be that person just based on my age. It'll be a state function, and so the more functional she can be, the more of a burden that will be taken off of the state in the future. She's very kind-hearted, and she wears her emotions right out of her sleeve, and, you know, I think anyone that would meet my daughter or any of these kids that go to Good Shepherd would say that they deserve every chance they can get. They are way behind at the start of the race. This is just helping them catch up a little bit.
It was a struggle from kindergarten all the way to 7th grade.
I feel like some kids actually waited till I got to school and then bullied me all the way till it was time for me to go home. Sometimes kids, when I'm passing, sometimes they would tease me about things and say how a retard I was sometimes, and it upset me really bad.
Many times, children with special needs are those that suffer at the hands of bullying. And we've heard a lot lately, in the media about bullying and the effects it has on the child.
Sometimes I wouldn't even go to lunch because of the teasing. And I was scared to go sit next to everybody.
Felicia would hide out in the bathroom. She talked about killing herself.
So I would go in the bathroom, I would eat my lunch in there, or I would cry about it in the bathroom.
And it wasn't just the kids, it was the teachers too, because they just, felt like that Felicia was always the problem. It was like she got in trouble for something that somebody else did to her. Since the kids felt like Felicia was the problem, the teachers felt like she was the problem. They didn't see that she was normal but different. They just seen her with a disability. Well, Felicia has Asperger's, OCD. She also has ADHD.
Asperger's is essentially a social disorder where a child doesn't necessarily know how to properly socially interact with other children. Because of that disorder, that sometimes leads to bullying, that sometimes leads to frustration from the teachers with that child.
It was hard going through a school every day that really didn't seem to care about it.
I seen it in the paper, and it was like a blessing. Was going to help my daughter go to school, where she didn't have to go to school and be afraid of, who's going to tease her, or hiding in the bathroom, or getting fussed at by the teachers. And I seen it, and I immediately just got so excited.
We're also going to have a play on words because it's going to be the name of one of our characters whose name is Ernest. So the importance of being Ernest. And being the character Ernest. So we're going to go ahead and start Act 1. And this is going to be a situational comedy, and a comedy of errors is what it's called. So a comedy of errors are always disguises, and there are always characters.
Town and Country started in 1961. It was founded by a group of parents whose children had learning disabilities. We're Oklahoma's only non-public, non-profit, full-day program for children who have attention disorders, learning disabilities, autism, and Asperger's.
I love my teachers. They talk to me, and they really seem whenever things are going bad for me, it seems like they really are really worried about me.
They have just a special way with our kids. They just take a very individualized approach. They work with our kids one-on-one. Every child here has their special needs, and we address them one by one.
Confidence, self-assurance, being able to feel like she's somebody, walking with her head up, tall. She's got friends. She feels comfortable with the teachers. Felicia wakes up wanting to go to school.
I felt like that I can talk to the kids, because I have made a lot of friends at Town and Country that I couldn't make at the other school, and I feel accepted.
One of her English teachers are encouraging her to write stories. She wants to be a book writer.
My favorite thing to write about is actually about teenagers, what I am, And this book is about, what I'm writing about is about these two girls, and I write about all the great antics and adventures that they get into while their parents are gone.
Once they feel that they can learn, they will learn. Our children are very bright, they just learn differently.
Just thinking back on it now, I mean, where Felicia is now, it's such a relief. I can actually come home, rest, go to work. When Felicia was in public schools, she would literally crawl in a ball because she did not want to go to school. To go back in that time now, it frightens me every time I think about it, you know.
I probably feel hopeless because school was a daily challenge for me every day. And now it's not anymore, and I'm glad.
All we're needing is somebody to understand that we're just wanting our child to have the education that any child out here deserves or needs. I just want my child to be able to go to school. That's all. If it's anything that I can do, we can do together to help kids that have a disability, this is it. This is the answer. This is what works for them. This is it.
At its core, the Lindsey Nicole Henry Scholarship is bringing opportunity to the neediest of Oklahomans.
There's 149 kids involved in the program now in schools around the state.
It is taking the public resources and servicing those that need our help that we are supposed to look after and make sure that they have the same opportunity that the rest of us have.
They know their child, and they know their child can learn, and they know their child has dreams, regardless of their disability, to be a contributing member of our society, of our country.
Every child out there can learn. They need an effective educator to pull out of them the things they need pulled out of them.
We make sure that we're providing that opportunity to these children and to their families.
It's really a wonderful program that's exceeded my expectations, quite frankly, and has had an impact on the lives of children that quite frankly, I would have thought somebody was exaggerating had they told me what would happen. I'm a believer, and I think a lot of other people are too at this point.